It's another Wednesday, May the
20th. Welcome back. We've almost made it through May.
You know what's weird now? Is I actually know what day of the week it is.
They don't all run together.
It's a little bit disappointing.
Welcome back to working. That's what happens.
It is. But, you know, we're continuing with our show. We're keeping it going. I'm working again. And I got to tell people, it is hard to get back to work with the full schedule. You were making fun of me today.
Yeah, it was.
Saying that, my God, you got 2 days in a row of a full schedule.
With no nap.
We
did work this weekend, though. We had a really good weekend.
I know, but this no nap business is crushing me.
But, you know, some people get 2 full days off.
And now I'm wearing scrubs.
Yeah.
And they're starting to get a little tight.
No, scrubs are great. That's what happens. You can't tell you're gaining weight because you're wearing elastic pants.
Yeah, but then when the elastic gets tight, it's not
Then you really have a problem.
Well, my fanny, we have a problem.
We haven't been walking.
My female nanny.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do about getting me back to walking?
Well, the gyms are about to open back up.
According to the governor, Roy Cooper, May 22nd should be level 2 opening in the state of North Carolina.
So the gyms will be open with limited availability. So I think
it's always been limited availability to me.
So I'm going to have to sign us up super early for classes so we can't back out.
Well, I'm not going in after other people have been there. I mean, I don't want any
we're going to go to the first class.
That's like 5 o'clock in the morning. You're out of your mind.
No,
girl.
they're skipping classes so they have time to sanitize in between. I think we'll be safe.
All right, we'll see.
It'll be worth it to fit in our scrubs, okay?
Whatever. Let's get to the news. And I'm back with some news, okay? The news for this week is I got to find out who's making the news for me, to be quite honest with you, because some of my news looks like it's coming off of foreign websites. Nothing really super exciting this week. Well, one thing that's super excited that they won't let me talk about, but the Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory is studying ways to safely and rapidly remove viral threats from N95 respirators. You know what? I'm tired of talking about N95 respirators. I'm freaking tired of it. Done. Done talking about N95 respirators. Done talking about fake ones, Korean ones, KN95, sterilizing nuts. I'm done. Done talking about it. Let's move on. Who gives 2 shits? Let's go. All right. Here is actually interesting news. Okay. We'll have to talk to my producers about the quality of news stories. They're getting me. States are easing restrictions on dental treatment. Either that or the dentists are just walking around holding guns and doing what the hell they want and in protest. But states are actually easing restrictions and more practices are opening. The week of May 4th, it was estimated that about 30% of dental practices in the country were open, which is up from 3.5% on the week of April the 20th. So that is a 10x increase. That's massive. And by today, because some reason my producer gets me old news, okay, producer over there wearing the blue hat this week, I bet it's probably closer to 60% or so offices this week, Wednesday, May 20th, okay? So dental offices lost 503,000 jobs in the month of April. And it's a lot. And I hope each of you are bringing them back. I hope all of your team members are feeling safe and you're making them feel safe. And I hope we're bringing them back. And if your hygienist is a member of the ADHA, they will probably report you to the CDC for God knows what, okay? So let's keep moving on.
And OSHA.
And OSHA first.
Yeah.
They may even call the Chinese government on you. I don't know, okay? Something or another, okay? 3 key areas to improve during COVID-19. When is the news going to stop having all this nonsense in it?
They have nothing else to talk. What would they talk about right now if there was no COVID?
We could talk about Sleepy Joe Biden.
Yeah. Well,
and mean Donald Trump.
Yeah.
We could talk about it.
We can go back to that.
Listen, how about this? Well, anyway, we'll get to this, okay? In light of current events, most dental practices are reducing hours or temporary closing to prioritize health and safety of their patients. These are the things that you should look for in the coming weeks and months to help get back, okay? Evaluate your past marketing efforts. Things that didn't work, cut it off. Things that aren't relative to the things that you're trying to do, cut it off, okay? Things that have been working, continue, update, change. Now is the time where every dollar you spend is massively important. Keep on top of it, okay? Plan for the future. Planning for the future by referring to what has and hasn't been effective in your office. But I'd also recommend something else for your future. Get clear about what you want your future to be. Do you want to have 20 people in your office and work 6 days a week? Maybe you don't. Maybe you're willing to take a simplistic approach to the way you run your practice. And then get up to speed on continuing education. Now, of course, here at 3D Dentist, we want you to take continuing education. But let me tell you this, and I speak from the heart on this and from personal experience on this. I thought that there was no substitute for live learning, and there isn't. But properly produced, great technology-based webinars are super close, they're affordable, and they don't require travel, and they're a close second. I'm so proud of our team of 3D Dentists and how much we've been able to pivot over the last 2 months to be able to move most of our courses to a live streaming and soon to be online course ability. We're doing phenomenal things, so if we can help you at 3D Dentist, I'm sure Meredith will put the sales pitch on a little bit later. There is a belief that thicker saliva could reduce the spread of COVID-19.
why? Because you're less likely to spray it?
I'm tired of COVID-19. Do I even have to read this? I mean, for God's sakes. Researchers at the University of Central Florida, because they got nothing else to do anywhere, okay, are looking at changing people's saliva to help manage the spread of COVID-19. This is all the hygienists need to hear. Is we need to change the saliva of our patients.
I'm only seeing patients with thick saliva.
Right, that's it. Because if our patients don't have thick saliva, we can't see them anymore. This is crazy. Postdoctoral researchers Douglas Hector Fontes and Jonathan Reyes are leading the analysis of the effort in Kinzel's and Ahmad's lab, respectively. I'm glad there are people out there that enjoy this. I would have never thought that. But maybe it proves true. Maybe what we can do is give all our patients molasses when they come in to make their saliva thick. Ugh. But because the picture here says candy, I hope it's sugared candy
so they get cavities.
So we can create more cavities. I mean, come on. Kidding me?
Like you want to do more MODs.
Well, I need people in my office to do MODs. In the most important news of today, South Korean team apologizes for certain types of dolls they put in the stands. So South Korea in their FC club FC Seoul, I think it's what it's called. And by the way, I learned this on ESPN because there's so much more to talk about than COVID. So let's talk about FC Seoul, South Korean football club. They're starting to play football again, and they're starting to put dolls in the stands to make it look like people are there. Now, I don't know if the dolls have words that come out of them or whatever, but they put a certain type of doll that my producers won't let me say, but you can clearly read on the screen, in the stands, and it caused an uproar. I mean, what's wrong with these kind of dolls?
NASCAR had a race this past weekend with no fans. It's different for sure.
Yeah, but
they wanted it to look like there was people there.
You know what I'm going to do? We're going to put dolls in our waiting room.
No.
We are. Because we're not letting patients wait in the waiting room anymore. And now it's not a waiting room. Now it's a waste of space.
And we don't like to waste space. We work out of closets at our office. We don't waste space.
Wait till Mona finds out that we have extra space in the lobby.
She'll have someone working out there.
We'll have people working out there. All right, that's enough news for this week.
All right. So as they stated, we had an awesome weekend this past weekend with TBone, Sully, and Hutan for our live streamed sleep apnea course. Our in-person courses are on hold, but we look forward to having everybody back in Raleigh soon. Our medical billing and sleep implementation will be available for online streaming very soon. And as well as the online courses, you can also purchase our 3D Dentist growth webinars at www.3d-dentist.com/growth. And if you haven't already, be sure to join our Facebook group, Dental Business and Clinical Excellence. And if you feel like you don't get enough of us, tune in to the TBone Speaks podcast. We're there every Monday.
You know, I think we should do our case acceptance program as a live stream in the next 3-4 weeks.
Yeah, I think that
now
would
that
be good.
teams are getting back to work, I think it'd be good.
Be a really good way for all the team to get back together. You know, I wondered that you see these people every day if you kind of fall out of touch when you don't see each other for a month or two.
Yeah, and I miss Sully.
Yeah. You guys had a good time.
I need somebody to drive me around.
Yeah, so everyone came into town this weekend, our instructors. We had a really good time. It's different not seeing everybody like we're used to. So that was fun.
Well, Sully went and Hutan went to the pool in breaks.
In between, yeah. We'd have like a 10-minute break. T-Bone was over here fixing the technology.
Getting
he's
angry.
He's like ready. Sully's out getting a tan.
I know.
He burnt.
My tan is suffering from all of this.
Yeah.
All right. All right, this week's clinical case. Let's take a peek here. So on this week's clinical case, we're going to be sharing with you a tooth number 8. That's it. We're just going to share the tooth with you, nothing more. But this week, tooth number 8, this wonderful young lady, probably in her mid-20s, I can't remember to be quite honest with you, mid to late 20s actually, had a accident on this tooth when she was a younger person, and it required endo. And now the tooth is starting to hurt, and it has a residual lesion on it. So she came in for a consultation evaluation. Giving her age, she doesn't want to have the tooth. She'd like to try to save the tooth, number one, but if she does lose the tooth, she'd like to have an implant there. So she came in for an evaluation, and you can see on this panoramic x-ray that tooth number 8 has a root canal on it, and then here's our PA of the tooth, and what you can see here is also that tooth number 8 has an endo. Now what you're not seeing all of this, and what we don't see until we take a look at the slice, is we can see that there's a large lesion there on the palatal aspect of it, and that there is also a fistula coming out of the tooth on the palate, meaning that this tooth was either fractured or reinfected, but basically the tooth was non-savable. Given the defect that was there, given the lack of primary stability, we made a decision that an immediate placement was not wise in this particular case. But of course, as always, nobody wants to go without a front tooth. So in this particular case, we went ahead and took a digital impression. And we are able to utilize, in my case, I use CEREC here. We're able to utilize that to virtually extract tooth number 8 on the software and produce a Maryland bridge. Now, some people do 2 wings, some people do 1 wing. There's no real right or wrong answer in this, but either way, this is going to be a provisional. So we did a Maryland bridge here so that we would have this available for our patient as a provisional at the time of extraction. So we could have done nothing. We could have done a flipper. We could have done an Essex retainer, which is what I like because it's simple and easy. But in this particular case, the patient wanted to have something that would be more long lasting, which in this case, we decided to do a lithium disilicate milled Maryland bridge. I lost my train of thought. So after that, we went ahead and took out our tooth using elevators and apical retention forceps with a focus on making sure that we don't break any more bone. And here you can see our surgical site after taking it off. And then what we're able to do then is go ahead, and it's always very critical to go ahead and clean out and debride the socket to make sure any tissue or any residual granulation tissue is completely removed. And here you can see from this view the defect at the apex of the extraction site, and you can begin to see the defect that exists on the palatal as well, and that is from that granulation tissue we removed. So once we notice this, we know that we're going to have to do some additional slightly more complicated grafting in this case, and we're going to utilize a collagen membrane. I believe this is Memlock from BioHorizons, and we're going to go ahead and tuck that in on the palate so that way we can extend it beyond our defect and make sure that it's touching the bone. And then we're going to go ahead and place our freeze-dried bone allograft here, and I believe this is also Mineros from BioHorizons mixed with the patient's blood. Okay, so here we have it going in, and here you can see it's filling the socket, and we have our membrane sticking out. And then we're literally just going to tuck our membrane up over everything and then go ahead and place a suture to kind of keep everything in place. And then what we're ready to do, here's our surgical site after a few sutures are placed. And then we're ready to go ahead and place our provisional restoration. And in this particular case, we hydrofluoric acid etched and placed some silane and bonding agent on the Maryland bridge, used some flowable composite and put it in place and made sure to nicely clean it. Now the nice thing about this is when we did our virtual extraction on the software, what we were able to do is develop an ovate ponic site slightly into the extraction site, so that way we can help develop a nice emergence profile for this. So we're now waiting for the case to heal and to determine whether or not we're going to move forward with implant therapy now or down the road, and how our bone grafting comes out. So that is our clinical case for the day.
All right. So our question today is, how can I keep up and stay current in the ever-changing dental world?
Well, the real answer to that is you can't. I mean, it is hard.
It's true. It's ever-changing.
It's ever-changing. You know, I think, to me, and I really feel like I'm a broken record here, but I'll just keep saying it, is you got to get clear about who you're trying to be and what kind of practice you're going to build, and and make changes and updates. So this question is very broad. So is it about clinical technologies? Is it about team members? Is it about the overall size and scope of your practice? But I think the most important thing one can do when you have any type of question like this is look inside. What is it that you're happy about, unhappy about? What is it that, if you're trying to grow your practice, what is your growth for? Is it because you need more money to pay your bills? Is it because you need more money because you want to build multiple offices? Is it that you need more money so that you can get out of a marriage or, get rid of people? I'm not saying that for any particular reason, but I'm just saying. So those to me are some of the things that you got to take a look at. Is it's got to start from within. You can't do something based on what I would want you to do. You got to do something based on what you want you to do. And to me, that's the most important aspect of it. So what are your thoughts on that, Meredith?
Yeah, I think staying up with the technology and what's current, like, 10 years ago, I don't think as many general dentists were doing implants as they are now. They weren't doing as much Invisalign as they are now. And you almost have to stay up to date with those current procedures, or you're going to lose your patients to offices where they only have to go to one place.
Yeah.
A lot of patients we get, that's why they like to come there. They don't have to go to 5 different offices for different procedures. They cannot just, go to their home base for everything.
Yeah, and along those lines is I think you got to have an open mind about trying new procedures. You can't, like, I didn't like taking out teeth or doing surgery when I started,
Yeah.
right? But if I had kept a closed mind.
That's so funny to me because that's mostly what
I
you do now.
right? But, if I kept a closed mind about
Right.
that, if I kind of let that hold me back and say, oh, I don't like that, I never would have reached here.
Right.
Maybe I would have been somewhere better or worse.
Yeah.
I don't know, right? But you got to keep an open mind. You owe it to yourself to at least try.
Yeah.
And if you give it that good try and it's just not right for you, or you stink at it, or whatever it is, I'm okay with that.
Right.
And so you got to try. And I think that's a hard thing. And I think also part of this is taking advice from other people. I ask our team members pretty regularly, how are things going? What would you change? What would you do? What's on your mind? Those kind
What
of
do you
things.
hear from patients?
Yeah. So, what, because at the end of the day, patients aren't
Yeah.
telling me everything,
No.
right? And so to me, I got to look to them about what we want and where we're at. And, all of those things are so critical and important to developing a great practice. So,
Just
that's
try
all
to keep up.
and then when it comes to technology, just
Yeah.
know there's a lot. There's
Yeah.
a lot of technology out there, and it can be overwhelming. I think now more than ever, there's just a lot.
Yeah.
And you got to get out to CE. You got to see
You
different
have to
things.
know how to use the technology that you have.
Yeah, but even before that, I don't think you can make a purchase decision without seeing things.
Right.
And you got to go to events where you have the opportunity to see things, and then dive in deeper and then deeper and go down a process
Yeah.
to make decisions. And the last thing I want to say about keeping up with things is be careful about who you hang out with. You're the average of the 5 people you hang out with. Don't be the smartest person of all the people you hang out with. That's why I need new producers on my show, because I'm clearly the smartest person in this studio right now. But, that's important, because if we live in our bubble, we don't know what's out there. And I think for me, that's what I've always been very proud of, is that I continually try to at least learn. I don't execute everything, don't implement everything, but I'm always trying to learn what's possible. Mm-hmm. So much for that. So, all right. Well, I think we're done with our show for the week.
Yeah.
What do you
Happy
think?
Wednesday. Everybody's tired. They're getting back to work for real now.
Yeah. So a couple of things. If you have questions or you want to supply us with anything, just call us, 510-698-2663. Or my website is asktbone.com, and you can submit a question there and send it wide, and we can see. And of course, don't forget to listen to our podcast every Monday morning around 5 o'clock a.m. It comes out, and we have great content, and we are making a concerted effort to grow our podcast listenership. So again, I want to thank you. We live in a world where our business, all of this stuff, grows the same way your practice grows. Center-wide, and all of this stuff grows the same way. And the way that works is by you sharing this, liking this, leaving us comments, telling us how bad this is, how good this is, how mediocre it is, what we can do to improve this, and then helping other people along the way. You make a life by not what you earn, by what you give to those around you. So we want to thank you, and
We'll see you next Wednesday.
we'll see you next Wednesday.